Hi fellow bookworms. It's been a long time, I know. I've been busy. It's kind of exhausting working in retail. Who would have thought? I just wanted to let you know that I'm not dead yet, but you know, Christmas season is still to come, so that might change in the next 6 weeks or so. To get to the point of this video, I've read a few books in the last few weeks where I wasn't talking to you or anyone at all. Really. These are in no particular order because I am a lazy bitch and I'm not going to structure my videos like at all anymore because that's time consuming. First off, let's talk about Godsgrave by Jay Kristoff, which has come out, I don't know, I think this year or last year. I really don't know, but it's the second book in the Nevernight. Is there a name for this series? I don't know. The first book is called Nevernight. This is the second book called Godsgrave, and we continue to follow Mia Corvere on her quest for revenge. Now, I loved the first book. It was a 5-star read for me. It is a bit tropey and a bit trashy, and like, but sometimes you guys, you need that. I mean, I need that. The second book, I didn't like it as much as I liked the first book, mainly because some of the, you know, tension and plot threads that were built up and characters that were built up in the first book were kind of redundant in the second book. Like, they were taken care of in the first 10 pages or so, and then, you know, that was just very anticlimactic. And for me personally, as a reader, I thought I was a bit cheated because with all of that build up, I kind of expected more from that. Also, the pacing of this book was very weird for long stretches. There was nothing really happening. We were going through the motions. Mia had to, you know, do shit to get to the point where the book ended, but it wasn't that interesting, and it dragged a bit in places. And also, the romantic relationship with the person, I thought it was incredibly rushed and unbelievable because of Mia's feelings towards this person at the end of the last book, and then her complete 180-degree turn towards this person in this book within a amount of time and without any kind of, you know, without any kind of real reason. Like, it felt like the author wanted us to have this payoff without any build-up regarding this relationship, and then it was so rushed, this relationship, and it went from 0 to 100 in like no time, and I was just like, I'm all for that kind of relationship, you know, like female relationship. I want that relationship, but like, give it the time and development that you give the heterosexual relationships. I liked it, and I will definitely still read the third book when it comes out, so eventually. Went a little bit downhill from the first book. Let's talk about a YA book, which a lot of people really enjoy, and I thought it was shitty as fuck. Like, no. Scythe by Neal Shusterman. Oh, you guys, this book was so boring, oh my god. This is a classic case of incredibly interesting concept and shitty execution. Now, it's been a few weeks, so my memory is kind of hazy because I tend to, you know, delete these kinds of shitty books from my memory because they don't need to take up space in my limited brain storage. But I remember that I really hated that there was so much repetition. There was a case of insta-love, and the relationship between the two main characters is not really kind of developed at all, and they completely fall in love, but for most of the year, most of the plot, they don't really even talk to each other, and just the philosophies and, you know, the things the mentors of these two apprentices said to them were so cringy and not really deep at all, but like these pseudo-deep philosophical things, and I thought, like, nah, no. It wasn't, like, the writing wasn't really good, and like the pacing was not great at all. The world wasn't really developed, and the characters weren't developed at all, and it was just like, no, I will not read the second book. No, I will not. I will not continue on with the series, and I will probably get rid of this book as soon as I can because, no, I did not enjoy it. Now, on to a completely different kind of book. I've read 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini, and I've read it in German. Mainly because we had like 1,000 copies of this book in the bookstore, and I don't know who ordered them, but I thought, let's read it so I can sell it to people and, you know, make room for the thousands of other books we have. this wasn't an... I don't know. I usually don't tend to read these kinds of stories, like stories that revolve around violence against women and war and stuff like that, because that makes me so incredibly sad. And just... I don't know, I just can't deal with it. I mean, listen, you guys, most of the time I can't even watch the news because I care so much and because that is so upsetting to me. So I was reading this and I expected it to be incredibly difficult to get through for me, but it wasn't. I read it in like 3 days because it was... And this is going to sound kind of strange, but it was very easy to read from the writing style. I don't know. I've loved getting a lot of information about Afghanistan because, you know, as someone who is pretty young, I remember Afghanistan as a place of danger and a place of war. And to read about in Afghanistan where there was no war and they had, you know, flourishing cities and culture and, you know, that is very interesting to me. And it just made me realize once again that we're all just people and we're all just trying to get by, and then some shitty people make life hell for us. And also, I was a little bit afraid that the violence against women would be sexualized, which is sometimes the case when men write about sexual assault. But it wasn't, so that's good. It was heart-wrenching in the end, and the story of these two women and how brave they are and how strong they are, it was really... I mean, I would recommend it. We're all just people. We're all just people trying to be happy, and sometimes that shit doesn't work out. Okay, let's move on. I also read Soul Music by Terry Pratchett, which is a part of the Discworld series. It is in the Death branch of that series, and Wikipedia lied to me. Wikipedia said that I had to read this book before I read Hogfather, but this book takes place after Hogfather, so it wasn't really a real problem because these books are just only very loosely interconnected. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a bit average, so I can't really remember what happened at all, but I remember that I had fun reading it and that I just generally enjoyed Terry Pratchett's books. If you like Terry Pratchett's work, if you like the Discworld series and you haven't read this book yet, then I think you would enjoy this one as well. Other than that, really my memory fails me at the moment. But I think I definitely know I liked it, but I couldn't pinpoint for the life of me what I liked exactly. Anyways, moving on. A book that I gave 5 stars to was Circe by Madeline Miller. This is a retelling of Circe's story, a famous witch of the Greek mythology, and we follow her through her entire life, which spans, of course, several centuries. It is told from first-person perspective, and I don't know, you would think that with the writing style, this story would get kind of dull very quickly, but it didn't. I found it very interesting to see her grow from being a very young nymph, I think she's a nymph, and to come into her own, make mistakes, deal with those mistakes, and accept her fate in her life, and kind of come into her own, grow up, and kind of go against the gods. So that was interesting. If you love retellings of Greek mythology, I would say that you would enjoy this book as well. Another book that I gave 5 stars to is Soulless by Gail Carriger. I've read this within, I don't know, a few days or so, and I read it mostly on my way to work, in the tram, and mostly I sat there like, oh, I hope nobody is reading, you know, leaning above my shoulder, reading with me because, ooh. Now this is a kind of paranormal romance book, and it is a bit trashy in that kind of direction, you know, like it isn't the most literary accomplished novel in the world, but sometimes I need that, okay? Sometimes I just need that, something that I can enjoy, something that I can get through incredibly fast, something that I can have a ton of fun with, and that was definitely it. I will definitely continue on with the series. And I like the main character, Alexia. She is so fun to read, and she's so, you know, it's a very, in the words of, you know, Louise from The Big Haired Bookworm, it's a very arch book. She's completely right. But it's a ton of fun, okay? And I will happily continue on with the series, and I loved it. On to the next book, which is Diana Wynne Jones's 8 Days of Luke. This is about David, who accidentally frees Loki from Norse mythology, and then all of the other Norse gods are after Loki, and David has to deal with them and his shitty family, because they are kind of shitty. Which is mostly the case in Diana Wynne Jones' novels, that the family of the main protagonists are kind of shitty. So I enjoyed it. I love Diana Wynne Jones' writing style. The story was very cute and short, and if you have any interest in Norse mythology, you can definitely catch all of the innuendos and Easter eggs. And yeah, I enjoyed it. That's all I have to say about this book, really. What I'm currently reading is this book, The Deathsniffer's Assistant by Kate McIntyre. I'm almost done. I think I have like 50 pages to go. This took me an incredible amount of time to get through. I think I've been reading this book for like 3 weeks or something like that. This is a prime example of debut author, from the angle of the world and the characters and the plot, more or less. I really enjoy this book so much. But the writing, oh dear God, the writing. It's not like there are passages, there are paragraphs that are wonderful, but there are also passages that are just so unnecessary. I don't think this author had an editor, and a lot of the sentences, a lot of paragraphs should have been cut out. I don't know. Would I recommend this book? Probably not. Except maybe you want to, you know, have an example of a debut author novel that still would have needed a lot of work, but is printed. But yeah, that's it. As far as audiobooks go, I am currently listening to, or re-listening I should say, to the P.C. Peter Grant novels, the Rivers of London series by Ben Aronovich, because the 7th book has just come out 3 days ago. I unpacked it yesterday at the bookstore and I was very happy. I am still listening to the 6th book, The Hanging Tree, right now, and after that I will listen to the new book, Lie Sleeping, and then I will do a series review overall, you know, worth your time, within the worth your time kind of series. So I will tell you my thoughts on that series in a few weeks, I guess. I don't know when I will have time for that. But other than that, that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know, hope you enjoyed seeing my face again and hearing my voice again. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. I hope you're reading something magical, wonderful, beautiful, something that touches your soul. Be nice to people working in retail, okay? Especially now in the Christmas season. That was my public service announcement for this video. Okay, other than that, I hope you're okay, all of you, and I will see you soon. Bye!